Welcome to UnwindStories. If you love cozy mysteries, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow along for more. This is part 3 of the Culinary Capers mystery series. If you haven't listened to the first 2 parts, The Secret Ingredient and A Recipe for Deception, you may want to start there, but each story can be enjoyed on its own. The sound of bubbling oil and the scent of caramelized onions filled the festival air, but Lila Thompson barely noticed. Something wasn't right. She knew it now more than ever. Anton Delgado's collapse had been dismissed by some as bad luck, but the note Martha found suggested otherwise. Celia had been acting suspiciously, and even though she insisted she wasn't responsible, Lila wasn't convinced she was telling the whole truth. And now another competitor had taken ill. It happened in broad daylight. Daniel McCarthy, a well-known pastry chef from the city, had been preparing his signature tart when he suddenly staggered, knocking over a mixing bowl as he gasped for breath. A crowd had gathered as he clutched the counter for support. Mark Reynolds had arrived within minutes, taking control of the situation, but the eerie similarity to Anton's collapse sent a chill through Lila's spine. Was someone sabotaging the competition? Lila exchanged a glance with Martha, who was already deep in thought. 2 incidents, Martha muttered. That can't be a coincidence. Mark wasn't taking any chances this time. He ordered samples from Daniel's food to be tested and advised the remaining contestants to keep a close eye on their ingredients. Celia, standing a few feet away, looked uneasy but determined. She approached Lila hesitantly, her voice low. "I need to talk to you, privately." Lila hesitated but nodded. They stepped away from the crowd, weaving between the festival tents to a quieter area. Celia fidgeted with the hem of her apron before speaking. "I didn't do this. I swear. But I think I know who might have." Lila's heart skipped a beat. "Who?" Celia glanced around before whispering, "I think it's someone from my past." Martha appeared beside them, arms crossed. "And why should we believe you now?" Celia sighed. "Because I didn't want to say anything before, but I didn't just stumble into this competition. I was sent here." Lila's brows furrowed. "Sent?" Celia nodded. "To keep an eye on Anton. Someone warned me that something like this might happen, but I didn't take it seriously. Not until now." Lila and Martha exchanged uneasy glances. If Celia was telling the truth, this was bigger than just a festival rivalry. Mark later called a private meeting with Lila and Martha at the festival's main office, away from prying eyes. He exhaled sharply, rubbing the back of his neck. "We won't get the lab results for at least another day or 2, but I had a quick look at the scene and something about Daniel's setup was off." Lila leaned forward. "What do you mean?" Mark lowered his voice. "There was a residue left behind near his prep station, something dark and oily. It wasn't part of his ingredients. I took a sample, but I need to figure out what it is." Martha frowned. "And no one saw anything?" "Not yet, but I have a feeling someone did." "People talk when they feel safe," Mark said. "We need to ask around, subtly." Lila, still deep in thought, glanced out the window. The festival continued outside as if nothing had happened, but she could feel the tension in the air. Someone out there knew the truth. That night, after the festival wrapped up for the day, Lila and Martha took a quiet walk along the boardwalk, away from the noise. The waves lapped against the shore, a stark contrast to the unrest stirring within the competition. "I don't like this," Martha admitted, rubbing her arms against the evening chill. "This doesn't feel random anymore." Lila nodded. "I know, but if Celia was sent here to watch Anton, then someone else must have known what was coming, and if that's the case, they might not be finished yet." Martha sighed. "I don't want to think about what that means." Before Lila could respond, a rustling sound came from the alley beside one of the festival tents. They both stopped in their tracks, eyes locking. "Did you hear that?" Lila whispered. Martha nodded, stepping cautiously toward the source of the noise. She peeked around the corner, then let out a sharp breath. A man was crouched near a dumpster, his hands rummaging through a discarded paper bag. He froze when he noticed them watching. Lila's stomach tightened. "Who is that?" Martha took a step forward. That's Greg, one of the cleanup workers." Greg straightened, eyes darting between them before he hesitantly lifted the bag. You're looking into what happened to Daniel, right?" Lila's heart pounded. "Do you know something?" Greg hesitated, then slowly nodded. "I didn't say anything before because I didn't want trouble, but I saw someone near Daniel's station right before it happened." Martha's voice was steady. "Who?" Greg swallowed hard. "Anton." Lila's breath caught. "But that's impossible. Anton was already recovering from his own collapse." Greg shook his head. "I know what I saw. He was there, and he looked angry." The weight of his words settled over them like a thick fog. If Anton had been near Daniel's station, then maybe everything they thought they knew about the sabotage was wrong. Thanks for listening to Unwind Stories. If you enjoyed this cozy mystery, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Stay tuned for the next installment of Culinary Capers.